My favorite memory from high school was getting to go play at Excel Center in the pep band for girls hockey.
One of my favorite memories was creating the tactical gaming club for Mound, Westonka High School, where I was able to make a whole bunch of friends and people were able to come together.
And my favorite memory from high school was the first time that I got to be the mascot on one of our homecoming games. Let's go, Hawks!
My favorite high school memory was being in choir and being choir co-president my senior year.
My favorite memory from high school is my junior basketball season when we were super successful and won our first section game in 17 years.
Hey, I'm Emily, and my favorite memory from high school is participating in the Girls State High School Hockey Tournament my freshman year.
My favorite memories are the trips to Maple Log with the Nordic ski team.
My favorite part of high school was homecoming week and all of the festivities that came along with it, such as the Powder Puff game.
My favorite memory at Mount Westonka High School is being the drum major of the pep band.
My favorite high school memory is going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. for the National Student Council Convention.
For my favorite high school memory, I enjoyed prom setup teardown.
For mine, I enjoyed Senate involvement in the school in general.
My favorite childhood memory was New Orleans tour. Woo!
My favorite high school memory was joining the dance team and getting to perform at state for the first time this year.
Friday night football.
Graduates, parents, family members, faculty, and staff, it is a great honor to welcome you to Mount Westonka High School's 2020 commencement ceremony. Thank you for watching this evening. My name is Mark McElmel, principal here at Mount Westonka High School, and on behalf of the Westonka School Board, our entire Mount Westonka High School staff, I want to extend a warm welcome to everybody watching from home tonight. Students, graduates, when you started here as an 8th grader and looked ahead 5 years, you probably did not anticipate enjoying a virtual graduation celebration from home. When we started to see at the end of the year was in question due to the pandemic, of course, I had our entire student body, families, and staff in mind, but immediately, my heart ached for all of you, our seniors. You've invested so much into making this place into what it is today. But then I stopped myself, and I knew that our school was in good hands with this senior class. I was immediately inspired by the patience you showed as this class navigated the uncertainty that filled the spring quarter, canceled events, virtual events, online testing, and the list went on and on. At one point in one of my messages to our student body, I remarked that I believe that a healthy, positive senior class sets the tone for the building and a successful year. And I challenged the rest of our grades that if our seniors could approach these challenges this spring with such patience, grittiness, grace, and resiliency, that we can follow in their footsteps and find example. The way you handled yourselves, your response, your R factor is in one of the hardest times to be a senior, not only in this school's history, but across the country, has been admirable and will be a part of your legacy you leave on this place. So we have a choice now in how we approach our remaining time together. We can lament or we can celebrate. We can focus on a quarter of school that didn't go as expected, or we can focus on the other 95% of the time you spent at this great high school. I challenge us to come together, albeit virtually, not to lament about what we lost this spring, but to celebrate all that you enjoyed over the last 5 years together. A high school career that was sure to have included ups and downs, new relationships, triumphs, and challenges. You're a special class. You're a talented class. You're a humble class. You're a class full of individuals comfortable with being who you are and allowing others to be who they are and welcoming new students along the journey. I've often ended the commencement speech with a comment that the world needs more Westonka. I couldn't be more certain of that today. Our school has been in great hands with you. As you head out in different directions, college, military, and the workplace, you will continue to be confronted by the challenges and problems that are presented to the communities near and far. You are prepared to be the leaders in this world to make a difference. So here we are. Sit back, enjoy a celebration of you with family and friends. Today, our school and community honor and celebrate all of your accomplishments. But more importantly, we hope you sense just how proud we are of how you spent your time here and who each and every one of you have become. That is your legacy here.
Good evening. My name is Connor Prock, and I was honored to serve as the 2019-2020 Student Senate President. I'd like to welcome graduates, friends, family, staff, and other guests to the Mound Westonka High School graduation ceremony for the class of 2020. The class to successfully pull off the best senior skip day, months prank yet. We come together today to not only celebrate us seniors taking the next step into our lives, but to also reflect on the past 5 years of our journeys here at the high school, our last 12 years of education, no matter where we have been. Graduation isn't the end of a tough journey, it is the beginning of a beautiful one. And here, class of 2020 is our beginning. However, none of this would have been possible without all of you joining us here today. Everything that we've experienced throughout high school has been a factor of your help, support, and motivation. We would all like to say a huge thank you and show our appreciation to all of those who have helped us to get to where we are today. Now, graduates, join me as I take you back in time, to a more simple time. Relax your minds and imagine your first time walking the halls of elementary school, not knowing how to add or subtract or even read, but growing smarter and more mature every day. Think back to the memories created during those crazy lunch periods and those fun recesses. All of those long days of MCA testing that we thought took an eternity, but are normal to us now. And don't forget when napping during school wasn't against the rules. Years go by, and it is finally time for middle school. Remember the memories of walking down the hallways of classmates, having intense kendama battles? The memories of scrolling through Instagram and watching your friends dump a bucket of ice water on their heads to raise awareness for ALS. But most importantly, can't forget the heated debates over whether the dress was blue and black or gold and white. Similar to elementary school, we remember the fun times we had. Sitting on the middle school side of the football bleachers, assemblies, seeing Mr. David wear a turkey costume every Thanksgiving, Gaga Ball, and many more are what made our middle school experience. It is quite unbelievable how fast those times went and how long ago they were. Before we knew it, high school came around. Think back to summer Link Crew orientation, where it all started. Remember the feeling of being with a group of juniors and seniors you've never met or seen before, but would grow throughout the years to become role models, leaders, and friends you look up to. It has been nearly 5 years since then. Hasn't the time since then and now been a memorable journey for all of us? Over these past 5 years of our high school experience, I think it is safe to say we are one of the more recent MWHS classes who have experienced the most change. Beginning in 8th grade, we were introduced to a brand new principal, Mr. McElmoyle. He's worked his hardest over the past 5 years to personalize our learning and make the most out of ourselves by incorporating student voices into how our high school should run. We would all like to thank Mr. McElmoyle for his continuous support of all things MWHS and his determinations to make personal connections with every student who walks our halls. In the fall of our freshman year, we received yet another significant change, flexible learning spaces. While some of us collaborated and joked around with our friends, leading to the occasional quiet down talk by Mr. Bovey and other hall monitors, others actually worked and studied independently. But I think it is safe to say our experiences here at the high school wouldn't have been the same without our flexible learning spaces. During the winter of our sophomore year, we all experienced the first schedule change here at MWHS, win time. This What I Need time, built into the Wednesday mornings of our regular schedule, allowed students to seek help or get additional study every week from the classes we needed extra support from. Beginning junior year, it also allowed for some of us to ease up on the number of tardies. Speaking of junior year, we were fortunate enough to have the community support to have the Performing Arts Center and Westonka Activity Center officially open. The Activity Center offers a great facility for all students and community members to participate in sports and activities. As an athlete, the center gives us a great space to practice and host events. For all students, especially those in fine arts, the Performing Arts Center has been an amazing place to gather and represent Mound Westonka's abundant artistic talents. It was obvious that the usage of these two facilities not only gave students a place to showcase their talents, but also brought a large morale booster for the Westonka community. Finally, senior year, we were introduced to a whole new schedule that was a drastic change from the previous years. We went from our typical day of 8 class periods to a block and regular schedule that brought us a new layout every day. At first, the new schedule brought mixed reactions. I think we can all remember saying at least once, "What kind of day is it today?" After surviving 3/4 of a year with this new schedule, I think we can successfully say we did it. We were not only able to handle all the new school and life changes our senior year, but we endured and accepted the challenge, and here we are tonight. If you look at the challenges and obstacles that have been given to our class during our journey here at the high school, you're able to see the role models these students have become for their future classes. We have not only respectfully adopted the changes given to us, but we have also set an example for how future classes should leave their legacies. This class's high school experience have made us the strong leaders that we are today, the strong and resilient leaders that are going to help guide this world to a brighter and stronger place. We're not afraid to speak up and do the right thing. Recent global events show that our world needs leaders to demonstrate that change is necessary for our society. Society and MWHS have taught us that our world is warming, our people are unequal, and our resources are overused. We also know how to communicate, and we will use our voice to make the world a better place. Changes and improvements within our society will not occur without the work and leadership of our generation. As Gandhi once said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. Now, class of 2020, it is our time to make the change we want to see and create the legacy we want to live. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2020.
Springtime at a high school is a really special place, and the hallmark of why it's special is because we get to honor and celebrate our soon-to-be graduates, you, the class of 2020. We realize that this has been a season of cancellations when it should be a season of celebrations. But listen, a pandemic, anything, cannot erase the impact that you've had here at this high school on the relationships you've had with one another, the experiences you've shared, and the relationships you've built with our adults and staff members in our building. But don't believe me. Listen to a lot of the different things that our staff members that care a lot about you have to say for the class of 2020. Congratulations.
Hello, class of 2020.
Before our Whitehawks fly off and go their separate ways,
the MWHS staff has something they want to make sure you know.
We are so proud of you.
We
are so
proud of you.
Okay, let's face it.
This is a really crazy way to end your senior year.
Distance learning?
Who knew we would all be in each other's homes?
And in some respects, we've grown closer now that we're far apart.
Who knew you guys would have to help me Zoom every single time I tried it?
You guys got to hear my dogs going crazy during classes.
You've met my pet.
Who could forget my kids arguing in the background?
You guys got to meet Emmett. Say hello, Emmett.
Hey, you've met my dog hanging out in Zoom.
You've seen me in every lighting and at every angle while we Zoomed.
And see my 5-year-old ask me for more cereal, or that she dropped milk all over her pants, and you might see her walk away without pants.
You've seen my mustache grow.
Who knew you guys would have to constantly remind me to post the assignments and open up the folders?
I never thought I would see
this many people's bedheads.
You've carried on with our discussions when my internet dropped.
Who knew that an important part of your learning would be watching my 3-year-old step into our meeting with pajamas and a superhero cape on?
Class of 2020.
We've seen a lot of you grow up before our eyes.
From the time you were kindergartners,
to timid 8th graders navigating the halls of the high school,
to senior leaders you are today.
Other Whitehawks we met along the way.
And you quickly became part of the flock.
And now here we are, preparing to watch you graduate.
So what can we say about the class of 2020?
You are artists.
You're athletes.
You are musicians.
You're creative thinkers.
Inventors.
Scholars.
Leaders.
And most importantly, you've been you.
you give back to our community.
And you're there for each other.
You rise to every challenge and are incredibly resilient.
You surprise us, you make us laugh.
And roll our eyes.
And jump up to our feet with applause.
It's been quite a journey, class of 2020.
And now you're nearing the finish line.
We hope you know how proud we are of you.
Of each and every one of you.
And how much we care about you.
We're your biggest fans.
Except for your parents, of course.
Your loudest cheerleaders.
Your most unwavering supporters.
Congratulations, class of 2020.
Way to go. You did it.
You leaned into this challenge and leaned on one another.
Congratulations.
If distance learning has taught us anything,
it's that none of us truly knows what the future holds.
But one thing is certain.
No matter what you do after here,
we will always be here for you, in your corner.
And we are so proud of you.
Have we said that already?
It's truly been our honor.
And our absolute pleasure.
To be your assistant principal.
To be your art teacher.
To be your school social worker.
Mentor and coach.
Life coach. Relationship coach. Baby introducer.
To help you get through high school.
To learn with you and laugh with you as your advisor and especially as your profe de español.
Go-to chemistry helper. To be your school connections coordinator.
To be that person who wouldn't let you walk by in the hallway without making a comment, even if it was Mr. Hebert.
Band director.
To be your Senate advisor.
To be your science teacher.
To be one of your business teachers and DECA advisors.
To be your teacher.
Your coach.
Your math lead advisor.
Be your school counselor.
To be your health teacher, your Phi-Ed teacher.
To be your high school Algebra 2, FST, and AP Stats math teacher.
Or maybe just that weird, bald, nerdy math guy that said hi to you in the hallway.
To be your teacher.
To be your teacher.
To be your teacher.
To be your teacher.
To be your activities director.
Your principal.
Thank you.
We know you are on a course to do great and amazing things.
Your future is bright.
And we can't wait to see what you're going to accomplish.
And remember,
whether we're together or apart,
it's always a great day to be a Whitehawk.
Go Whitehawks.
Congratulations, class of 2020. You made it. Best wishes moving forward.
congratulations, class of 2020.
Congratulations, seniors. You guys made me a very happy person the time I knew you, and I hope to see you guys soon. You guys are going to be great out there. Don't forget about us at Mound.
Congratulations, Mound Westonka seniors. You did it.
congratulations, class of 2020.
Congratulations, class of 2020. You'll be missed. Thanks.
Go Whitehawks!
Congratulations.
Go Whitehawks, class of 2020.
Go Whitehawks, congrats, class of 2020.
Congratulations, class of 2020. It's been an honor to be a part of your story at MWHS.
Our next speaker began his career at Mount Westonka High School with our class, but he isn't graduating tonight. Since 2015, Principal Macklemore has been a leader at MWHS in providing dynamic learning environments that focus on each student's interests, leveraging them to provide the best education possible. He has made it a mission to connect with all students personally and is dedicated to providing a 21st century learning experience to all students. Hailing from Canada, he is a die-hard Maple Leafs and Raptors fan, but I also know he is one of the biggest Whitehawks fan. We are proud to be the first graduating class Principal McElmoyle has led every step of the way. Please join me in giving Mr. McElmoyle a warm welcome.
Class of 2020. What can I say to a class that has lost so much, but at the same time stands in a moment of triumph? The pressure to find the right words, the perfect message, was at times something that reminded me of my own high school or college experience, where I'd sit in front of the computer watching that cursor type, hit delete, and start over and over again. Maybe some of you can relate. So why the difficulty? This is my 5th address to a senior class here at this high school. As you arrived as 8th graders, I arrived as the new principal of this high school. We started together. I have had the chance to get to know so many of you, to admire your academic excellence in the classroom, your performances on the field, court, stage, or studio. And for some of you, I admired other things that were equally impressive. I grew to understand your story and to admire the grit and resiliency so many of you demonstrated just to come to school every day when one considers what you are battling individually or at home. You let me stop you in the hallway to talk fishing, video games, ask about school, or to take note of your incredible artistic talent. So why is it difficult to find out what to say? I think it's because there is no template to the times we're in. There's nothing normal about this. How many times have you heard, this is all new territory, or we don't have a template for this? I would have liked to have had you enjoy your 4th quarter and ending your year in a different way. And so I think it's difficult because I wish we could all be together in different circumstances. Nonetheless, like anyone with writer's block, I pushed through and decided to go with what I know best as a starting point, my own story, and hope that it resonates with you. So here are 2 quick stories that are defining moments in my life that I think hold relevance to this class. Story number 1, 2002. After studying abroad in my junior year and having the opportunity to backpack across Europe by myself for 5 weeks, it was fantastic. I went back after college and continued my backpack travels completely on my own again. But this time, I had a completely different experience. As I visited some of the most beautiful landscapes and historical places in the entire world, I was filled with a profound sense of emptiness, that I was experiencing it alone. I reflected on the importance of relationships and how much richer the experience would be if I had been sharing it with someone, if I had understood the importance of being able to share those memories with someone someday. Story 2, losing my father suddenly in 2008. It was tragic. I know many of you have grieved the loss of someone important in your life. My father was an incredible man and mentor and friend to many, but most of all, he was my dad. The following spring after it happened, I found myself in my final year of my teaching career, just before I started my administrative track. And I was wrapping up my final class, and I was visiting with my seniors. I asked my students very innocently, is there anything else you want to talk about? It was just then that a student, just minutes before I would say goodbye to my last class as a teacher, asked me in front of the entire class a very deep question. Mr. McElmoyle, what's the meaning of life? Yes, this was the question, the last question I received as a teacher, and while it was a lofty question to have to provide an answer to on the spot, I answered it as truthfully and honestly as I possibly could. Surprisingly to myself, I answered this existential question with one simple word: relationships. I think I was able to do this as a result of the experience of intense loss I had just had 1 year prior. The year provided me space to understand that to me, life is all about relationships. People and the community more than the material things that we sometimes are all guilty of getting caught up in chasing and paying attention to. So why start here? Well, look around this school, this campus, the football field, the cafeteria. These places are what they are because of the people in them, the relationships and the community that fills them. Without people and relationships, these buildings and fields, they're empty. They're lifeless. Each of you walked these halls. You ate in the cafeteria. You competed on these fields. You performed on these stages. You hung artwork on the walls. You learned in the classrooms, and you fought through adversity at times that started well before our challenges in March. You battled injuries, the health challenges or loss of a loved one, your own physical or mental health, and the uncertainty and fear that has resulted from a community, nation, and world battling a pandemic. And yet, here you are, in this moment, together. A part of a community larger than yourselves individually, the class of 2020. Only you know what you have learned and taken away from the incredible relationships and engaging learning opportunities provided by your teachers and talented staff here at Mound Westonka High School. I would encourage you to think about what lessons you've learned during the past 5 months of being closer to home during this pandemic. For example, you now recognize that the word Zoom is not in reference to a children's story that you had been read as a child. You now know that you have two options: grow your hair out, or have an entrepreneurial family member say, I'll give it a trim, I'll give it a shot. And you've discovered many of your friends' talents, which might have included baking bread or watching a TikTok showcasing the latest dance moves that you definitely did not see them do at the 8th grade Link Crew dance. Joking aside, hopefully we have also learned deeper, more enduring lessons from the past 5 months. We collectively have learned the importance of agility and having a next play attitude. Information changes quickly, and we are challenged to adapt, work through disappointment, and problem solve with new information we're given. This has required a lot of agility. It's required us to be emotionally agile, technologically agile, organizationally agile, and more. We can use how we've been tested during these times to help us be prepared in the future for situations that require this skill set. We've reevaluated time, space, and priorities. We have asked ourselves, how do we spend our time? Who do we spend it with? Side note, saw research just the other day showing that young people yearn for those live interactions and relationships, and they've started to realize that text and videos are substitutes, but they don't replicate it. Looking out for the most vulnerable and isolated people in our community that could benefit from a kind action. You've learned that, I have. A text, a video, FaceTime, visiting outside a window for an elderly person that can't be there in person, or a socially distanced parade to show that they are appreciated, are important ways to show our love and support. You and I have learned gratitude for everyday heroes among us that serve our community selflessly and put their own health at risk for their communities. Nurses, doctors, law enforcement, firemen and women, grocery store workers, mail delivery people, garbage collectors, and the list goes on and on. We have heroes living among us. And gratitude for the moments and the fragility of life. We understand how we need to appreciate the moments that are given to each and every one of us, including this very moment. Class of 2020, my hope is whether you had this perspective before the pandemic or it evolved during, you have an appreciation for community, relationships, and shared belonging through the common experiences you've shared together. Smiles and laughter in the hallways. A staff member saying good morning, no matter what time of the day. Waking up with Wake Up Westonka. Getting loud on the sidelines, supporting friends, or enjoying a fall, spring, sunny afternoon lunch in the courtyard. As you move beyond this high school and you expand your social circles, I hope you will choose and build your community carefully and thoughtfully, because you will need to call upon those relationships and community to deal with the adversity that comes your way. And you will want the right people to answer your call, and you will want the privilege of answering their call. One of my favorite Canadian bands wrote a hit song in the 1990s called Lost Together. When we announced school closures, I saw a brilliant collaboration online, like we've seen in many different places, of artists from my hometown north of Toronto performing this old hit song. Despite it being from almost 30 years ago, the lyric struck me as being an appropriate description of the feelings you must all be feeling and experiencing as graduating seniors. Yes, you individually probably have felt lost and maybe even isolated over the past 5 months. At times in the future, you are going to feel lost again in the face of adversity that will face us in all different forms. But my hope, our hope, is that you have learned through this experience that relationships and community are the vehicles that can help you journey through that adversity. You are forever a part of the teams, groups, and activities of which you are a part here. And larger than all of that, you are forever a part of the class of 2020, a community larger than each individual within it. You will always belong to this group and be able to call upon and have a relationship and shared experience with it. Families, you have much to be proud of, and we are grateful you shared your student with us. Class of 2020, as your principal, it has been an absolute privilege to be along for your ride through Mound Westonka. I'm incredibly proud of you. Congratulations on your graduation, and good luck as the next chapter of your life commences. At Mound Westonka High School, we encourage our students to get involved in as many things as possible. Despite being a smaller environment, we are blessed to have opportunities for students to become involved in the arts, activities, athletics, and of course, academics. We have 3 groups of students that have demonstrated excellence in academics that we want to recognize in our ceremony here this evening. The first are our students that achieved cum laude status. The following students earned a 3.5 to 3.64 GPA over their high school career and are to be commended for their hard work and scholarship. Callan Tice, Daniel Navy, Elena Schmidt, Noah Alvig, Morgan McFadden, Connor Prock, Maria Morandi, Lucas Ralph, Tristan Kay, Robert Brustad, Jacob Ludowise, Ari Zahaski. The second group of students we are acknowledging this evening academically are the magna cum laude students. These students earned a GPA average of 3.65 to 3.79. These students are Jack Bullock, Michaela Morris, Sonia Hoversten, Grace Biglow, Anders Erdahl, Rebecca Nuckreiner, Trey Madsen, Caitlin Gutsky, Arthur Wichorek, Rachel Kitt, Kevin Zhang. We have one final group of students that we would like to recognize for their outstanding academic achievements, our summa cum laude students. 23 seniors, that's right, 23 seniors are graduating summa cum laude in 2020. This means these students have earned a 3.8 grade point average or higher over their academic careers at the high school. They've enrolled in the most rigorous courses, advanced placement, college in the schools, and honors coursework we have as a school. They are athletes, artists, academics, and leaders in our student programs. They are, above all, wonderful young people and examples of the value of dedication and commitment to excellence. In June, these students received a medal to commemorate their accomplishments. Congratulations to each and every one of them. Sarah Malchow, Olivia Martell, Chloe Kentola, Michael Andrev, Amelia Prue, Kate McGowan, Adam Bourne, Emma Mack, Emily Oberdeck, Kelly Goldberg, Michaela Schlosser, Bailey Kmeyer, Grace Hansen, Alexandra Welty, Lily Hames, Adam Nobbs, Samantha Otto, Claire Rivers, Bailey Ayers, Melissa Drill, Joseph Schwob, Nicole Norton, Emily Moore.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our two Class of 2020 senior speakers. They will be addressing our class together. First, Olivia Martell. During her time at MWHS, among other things, Olivia has been involved in DECA, NHS, Rotary, and volleyball. Her favorite memory was being on the football field during the homecoming football game this year. Secondly, it is my pleasure to introduce Melissa Drill. During her time at MWHS, among other things, Melissa has been involved in softball, volleyball, basketball, and DECA. Her favorite high school memory was making it to DECA Internationals with her two partners, Emily Moore and Sam Otto, twice. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Olivia Martell and Melissa Drill.
Important message in light of the COVID-19 situation. Westonka Public Schools has made the decision to cancel school for students starting Monday, March 16th. When we heard this announcement, we were all excited for an extended spring break, but little did we know our last day of senior year had already come and gone. Here we are, 4 months later, sitting at our non-traditional graduation, reflecting on all the things we missed out on. Spring break, prom, scholarship night and the NHS ceremony, spring sports and senior nights, walking to elementary schools, senior pranks, and so much more. It would be easy for us to sit here and wallow in pity, but instead let's focus on the happy times that we share as the class of 2020.
In 8th grade, we entered the high school for the first time through an arm tunnel of crazy upperclassmen link leaders, not knowing how many twists and turns the next 5 years of our lives would have. 9th grade was the year of firsts. First homecoming, first varsity games, and we took our first ride on the White Hawk Express, even if it was from the top of the bleachers.
As we moved down the bleachers into our sophomore year, we started to gain independence, earning our license, and finally not having to awkwardly ask upperclassmen for rides home every day. Our new independence came with more responsibilities and pressures, but at least the boys were finally starting to gain some height on us.
One of the most defining and impactful days of our high school careers occurred during our sophomore year. On April 16, 2018, the building lockdown alarm malfunctioned, shortly after being installed due to the national increase in the number of attacks against schools. The glitch sent the entire building into chaos, forcing teachers and students to make snap decisions under pressure. The experience was different for each of us, but it served as a bonding moment for the entire class of 2020 and the rest of MWHS. The day forced us to reflect on our lives, and it shaped our perspectives for the years of high school to come.
As sophomore summer came and went, we were finally able to call ourselves upperclassmen. Junior year flew by as our minds were constantly concerned with what was coming next, like the ACT and college visits. We were all so ready for our senior year. So much so that we might have forgotten to experience high school to the fullest while we were still in it.
Once senior year was finally here, we We made the absolute most of the time we had left together as the class of 2020. Before coronavirus struck, we still had plenty of opportunities to live the traditional senior year experience. We were all excited for the biggest tradition of them all, homecoming week. It started on Sunday night with powder puff, then on to coronation, dress-up days, and we ended the week with the football game and dance. In our final year of high school, we wanted to make the most of everything, so we went full up for dress-up days and felt no embarrassment dancing our hearts out in the commons.
Underneath the Friday night lights, we watched and cheered for the football team throughout their winning season. As a senior, this is a moment where you realize just how far you've come. From starting at the top of the bleachers, you're now at the fence celebrating the team's success, pounding on the Hawks' Nest sign. Football games weren't just an excuse to hang out with your friends on a Friday night like in the past, because as a senior, you feel a deeper sense of school pride. This bond continued into the basketball season as we intensely watched the boys take a victory over our new rival, Rockford. Storming the court after winning in the final seconds can be considered one of our last hurrahs as a class. From that point on, everything we had been looking forward to started to seem a little uncertain.
As coronavirus started to circle the world, we feared how this would affect the rest of our senior year.
March 25th, Governor Walz announced a stay-at-home order, closing all schools for 2 weeks.
April 8th, the governor extended the order until May 4th.
April 23rd, schools were closed for the rest of the year and prom and other major events were canceled.
As the news began to pile up, so did our disappointment. After 12 years of education, our final moments were stripped away. The new norm became Zoom classes, countless hours of FaceTime calls, walks around the block, and that's it. That's literally it.
Even though it's been bleak at times, we can still count our lessons. The first lesson. This year has taught us how important it is to cherish the little moments. At MWHS, some of these moments have been Mr. Atkinson saying good morning, no matter the time of day, Mr. Bowman's Spotify playlist playing as we enter class, and the science teachers standing outside their doorways waiting to greet us every morning. Secondly, we have learned to take nothing for granted and to appreciate the time we have while we still have it. As young people, this lesson will stick with us for the rest of our lives. And for the third and most important lesson, always wash your hands, don't touch your face, and try your very best not to cough in public unless you want to get some weird looks.
In all seriousness, even though this year ended nothing like we would have ever expected, we are grateful for these lessons that will remain with us for the rest of our lives. In the words of poet Leslie Dwight, maybe 2020 isn't canceled, but the most important year of them all.
Upon canceling schools, Governor Walz addressed us saying, "Class of 2020, you will not be defined by staying home and missing proms and missing graduations. You will be defined by understanding how interconnected our world is and what it means to come together and solve hard problems."
Instead, the class of 2020 will be defined by the way we persevere and tackle challenges as opportunities for growth. Whether we take on gap years, move on to college, join the workforce, or the Army, this pandemic has shown how we never fail to adapt to our surroundings and the obstacles we face.
Dear coronavirus, we won't let you define us. Thank you.
From the hit musical Wicked, this iconic duet, For Good, is a song of farewell as each of the women go their separate ways into unknown land. These two unlikely friends have learned so much about one another through their friendship. They will carry the lessons that they learned and the memories with them, just as our graduates will take their knowledge, friendships, and life experiences with them as they are guided towards their futures. Here are Destiny Utek and Julia Rebello singing For Good.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led by those who help us most to grow if we let them. and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
Well, maybe we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, know you have rewritten mine, being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a sky bird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you've blamed me for.
But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better, because I knew you.
Because I knew you.
Because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Our next speaker has led our district for the past 14 years to be one of the best performers in the state academically, while providing the small school advantages, big school opportunities that our district stands for. His support from students, families, and community have allowed MWHS to have the finest educational resources and facilities. Mr. Borg's leadership has been vital during this current pandemic in order for our school district to stay strong and effective. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Superintendent Mr. Borg.
Class of 2020, it's my role and opportunity to present this class to our school board representatives for the conferring of your high school diplomas and to share that each of these students has met the graduation requirements of the Westonka School District and the state of Minnesota. Conferring your diplomas tonight are school board members Vice Chair Gary Woolner and school board member Heidi Marty. So now we're at the point where we call the class roll. Calling the class roll at Mound Westonka High School is a tradition and an honor for those that were selected. This year, your class selected Ms. Tremblay and Mr. Keel. Class of 2020, we are proud of you, and I look forward to seeing each of you as you come up for your diploma.
Class of 2020, the time has come. Mr. Borg, it is now my distinct pleasure to submit this accomplished class to you for your approval. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor to present to you the Mound Westonka High School Class of 2020.
Amal Ahmadi, Dylan Albert, Andrew Almonte, Noah Alvig, Ivy Anderson, Seth Anderson, Michael Andreashev, Isabel Ayaz, Bailey Ayers, Zachary Babb, Cameron Backlund, Lauren Beaucamp, Charles Becker, Elizabeth Beckman, Maximilian Beisel, Trinity Belke, Grace Bigelow, Catherine Bonney, Adam Bourne, Brett Bowman, Olivia Bradford, Robert Brewstead, Jack Bullock, David Castro Reyes, Kennedy Chang, Carter Chase, Sophia Churba, Ava Chonia, Rachel Christensen, Vivian Clark, Callie Copeman, Jonah Cowell, Alyssa Cruz, Cooper Curdy, Jack Dom, Jordan Deering, Blake Dakarski, Isaiah Dempsey, Devin Donahoe, Gavin Donahoe, Melissa Drill, Olivia Duggan, Anders Erdahl, Samuel Erickson, Cassandra Farley, Jack Farrell, Rowan Fisher-Hafe, Madalena Fisk, Ryan Fitz, Alexander Flemmel, Jane Furman, Isabella Goddard, David Godoy Henderson, Kelly Goldberg, Shayla Gonrowski, Thomas Guff, Alyssa Groh, Ariel Grimala, Jacob Gudekunz, Caitlin Gutsky, Joshua Haddon, Josiah Hagblum, Jan Hajukevitz, Lily Hames, Jared Hanegrafs, Grace Hansen. Blake Harmer. Zachary Hayes. Jaden Heimerman. Ashton Hicks. Matthew Ho. Taylor Hollins. Sonia Hoverston. Lindsay Howell. Cassidy Jenkins. Devin Johnson. Kiera Johnson. Malachi Johnson. Alexis Joliker. Connor Jones. Bailey Kmeyer. Chloe Cantola. Tristan K. Madison Ketcher. Raekwon King. Tucson King. Ian Kirk. Kobe Kurtz. Rachel Kitt. Rebecca Noel. Truman Kupski. Monique LaCroix. Tatum Larson. Catherine Larson. Sarah Larson. Nicholas Lagueros. Leah LaPala. Noah Litzow. Shane Lynn. Grace Lockwood.
Emmeline Luer. Jacob Ludowise. Taylor Lundquist. Michael McDonald. Emma Mack. Kelvin Mackle. Trey Madsen. Raymond Mackey. Sarah Melchow. Olivia Martell. Tyler Matthews. Becca McCann. Morgan McFadden. Kate McGowan. Dylan McManus. Henry Metcalf. Darby Miller. Emily Moore. Maria Mirande. Michaela Morris. Morgan Mullins. Daniel Murphy. Rebecca Knockreiner. Charles Nelson. Charles Nesbitt. Henry Ness. Daniel Neve. Adam Knobs. Nicole Norton. Cameron Oates. Emily Oberdeck. Gage Olson. Grant Otteson. Samantha Otto. Alexandra Owens. Mark Peterson Carlson. Ryan Peters. Haley Peterson. Jeffrey Pickard. Grace Perkle. Connor Prock, Amelia Pruhl, Jordana Quinn, Julia Rebello, Lucas Ralph, Nicholas Ramasier, Brittany Reyes, Claire Rivers, Claire Russick, Sydney Ricks, Olivia Schaefer, Michaela Schlosser, Elena Schmidt, Joseph Schwob, Jameson Sexton, Michaela Shelton, Jordan Simon, Lakin Smythe, Piper Snyder, Dylan Somnus, Mariah Somnus, Connor Sewell, Megan Stacy, Nicholas Stanberry, Madison Steele, Tyler Stevenson, Paige Svoboda, Callan Tice, Christopher Turcus Rivera, Destiny Utek, Alec Van Gelder, Hampton Velarde, Owen Warlin, Alexandra Welty, Haley Werta, Callie Worth, Annabelle Wiskus, Arthur Wichorek, Jack Whitty, Ryan Yount, Ari Zahaski, Kevin Chang.
Class of 2020, it is now time, the time we have been all waiting for. We would ask all of you, wherever you are watching from, to join our class in standing with your caps on. Moments from now, we will do a countdown and we will all throw our caps in the air at the same time. Wait for the countdown.
Make sure your tassel is on the right side.
At this time, we want to invite all of you to move your tassel over to the left side. On behalf of Mound Westonka and our community, we want to say congratulations, Class of 2020. We did it.
We are going to count down from 3 and let's throw them all at the same time.
3, 2, 1.